So what I'm going to do is give you a introduction to mixed media. The first step to mixed media will be mixing watercolor and color pencil together. You can substitute watercolor with marker if you like. There's different things you can do. Mixed media, basically we're mixing two medias together, we're not relying on one. When you get to your final, you're going to get like a Bristol sheet of paper or watercolor paper, which is always really good. It's like cardstock. And you can do pencil if you want, but I suggest if you're going to sketch stuff out that you use either like a light blue or a red in its place, because if we use markers or anything, it will be easier on the markers than the pencil, the graphite will. And you want to go real light. You might not even see some of my marks. I'm going to use the red so it's a little bit more. It's kind of like a green screen in Hollywood. So you can see here that, here we go, that my pencil is tapered. So I can get thick lines by switching it over, thin lines by having the tip. I'm going to start with you getting the thin lines. And I'm just going to draw some stuff out. You want to go light. You do not want to go heavy on the line work. It's just there for placement. Notice I made the first rookie mistake was I drew the left eye before drawing the right eye because I'm right-handed. You want to work where your hand's not covering up so you can get a better case of symmetry. And then it went really cartoony fast. So you can see I have the image there. And the next step, once you have your image drawn out, you'll want to get a watercolor pencil, or not watercolor pencil, watercolors. And you want to make sure that you're having watercolor brushes. Don't get the big brushes. You want these kinds of brushes here where it's considered medium, or some with the tip, more calligraphy kind of a brush. I couldn't find those in my tree because people aren't putting brushes back. Make sure that you're putting brushes back because that's how brushes get lost. And if we don't have the brushes, you can't use them, and then your artwork will suffer. So I can start with yellow, orange, red, whatever color that I want, and I'm just gonna irritate it. If you started with watercolors and have done watercolors, normally I tell you that you are going to need just to take straight from the palette. This is where this gets introduced to. This is a painting palette, one of the new ones that I've got. I've only got two thus far in making this video. But you can take the water and take the paint out of there and start building your own tones. Notice I'm tapping 3 times in the water reserve here to clean out my brush so I don't mix colors inside my palettes. I just mix it in here. So I'm going to lighten up the flesh tone with the yellow. And you're gonna notice I'm going to have a lot of color. That's okay. Once I have a decent flesh tone, as you can see here, I want to start with where my shadows should be. So my shadows definitely be down here. And you want to color kind of inside the lines. You want to use the water and push the color around, and you kind of want to leave it darker where the shadows are going to be, and that's basically where you want to start applying your paint to. You can do wet on wet, which is laying down the water first and let the color diffuse, or you can add the color down, add water as you go. Notice that I'm leaving some parts highlighted where most of the light is being reflected. And you want to work relatively quickly before all your watercolors dry. And then you might have to put another, what is called wash down. So you can see here I got underneath, but I kind of went around because normally there's a highlight there right by the eye on the brow. And you're just really, what you're doing with the watercolors is you're just accentuating some of the shadows, and you're just getting the tone down with the watercolors. See how that diffused, and I'm moving it around to other places, but I'm keeping that shadow where the cheek is. And it looks pretty good for the start. I like these because you can shut it and lock it down. And you can pretty much save your paint, though it's watercolor in here, so it's really going to splash around a little bit. And I can save it for later. I'm going to get more of those. Once this dries, and you see it's not dry because I just put paint on there, then you're going to want to go over it and sharpen it up with colored pencils. So we can take shadows like umbers or this dark orange or burnt sienna and add shadows to it, making it darker, upping the contrast. This is what will mixed media be. And also I'm using the same ones that you're going to be using, the prangs, the Crayolas. If you're using the Faber-Castell or the Prismacolor, that's good. Those would be a lot better quality. All right, I'm stopping this. I'm making a second video.